I can notice it right now. Other people can if I'm
Wait,
shirtless.
are you still
this
on
is
your
getting
marijuana
done
journey?
now.
Because I feel like when I spoke to you last, you had just started smoking. Like you didn't smoke when you were younger.
Me?
You're thinking of somebody
Am I
else. You're
remembering
talking.
that?
No, I started smoking in college, and I've smoked I'm 33, so I've smoked a good bit since then. I'm like a regular nighttime smoker. Like I don't wake and bake or smoke during the day, but like today, like I'm not going to smoke during the show because it makes me not as talkative, and that's not good for the product.
Do you get introspective and introverted when you smoke?
Definitely more so than when I'm not smoking. But I also am not like Kyle sometimes likes to get high in the way where he likes to get scared high, like, ooh, like get really high. I'm not like that. I like just a 1 gram cart from a local dispensary lasts me weeks,
like 2 years. Oh, okay,
because I'm just taking a few hits every night, and I'm like, all right, that's getting me to a nice relaxed level. And I can tell when I've done too much because I'll start like thinking about like, ugh, remember when you called your second grade teacher mom?
Yep.
And I'll be like,
so what does a good high feel like? Can you put it into words?
Very relaxed, a little hungry, but mostly just carefree. Like if there's a 0 to 10 level of high, I think I like to hang out around like 4. Like that's where I enjoy it.
The best highs were fucking in high school when you had no responsibility. You didn't know shit about the world.
I do drugs in high school as a student.
Like I remember it just being so euphoric, and I feel like vision slowed down to like 30 frames a second, and my body tingled and food tasted great. And then as soon as I became an adult and I was like, oh, the world is horrifying. And, like I'm really fucked up as a person. It really just was never the same after that.
Really?
So
it would like regularly
being high, Hutch? Like what you said, you get this. Did it do it for you? You get what when you're high?
Well, towards I stopped drinking and doing any drugs for like the last like 2 years. So that's been different for me.
Big congrats. Well done.
In my adult life, I would have like phases where it was kind of nice, but I would need alcohol to level me off because I would get this like existential angst, like thinking about the nature of existence. And, I would get really deep with it, and I'd have like bad memories pop up. It just made me miserable.
What was your method of getting high on
the same kind of carts? Like by the end, I did like flowers, but the carts are just so convenient.
Yeah.
You can just buy them for like $30 or whatever. And
yeah, like a disposable cartridge.
Are you still doing the ketamine stuff, or are you done with that?
I'm done. I would say the last time I did it was a year ago, something like that.
Did it give you a kind of relief that lasted beyond the treatments?
They say it does, but I guess what it gave me was introspection, almost like maybe therapy would. And then that introspection has relief afterwards. But I don't think it's a chemical change as much as it is like the change you get from taking a minute to figure out why you're feeling the way you are. And, like therapy would, that was the kind of change that I got from it.
Well, sometimes it's also just like with hallucinogens, sometimes it's also just having the experience of what some people call ego death. So like when you take a hallucinogen and you're having an experience, but it doesn't feel like you. And sometimes just having that experience of like putting the concept of you to the side, and now you're this other thing, like that alone, I feel like can give you perspective. Because for me, LSD for sure mellowed me out. Like definitely mellowed me out. Like, cause once you
long term,
because LSD is really intense. It's like 14 hours for me. And, and yeah, it's like, bro,
that's too long of a drug.
Did you do tabs?
I'd have these little rituals. Like I would always watch like Man of Steel for some reason. I would acid at home and watch that. And it was just like this amazing experience. And like a lot of Marvel movies, and I'm just sitting on my couch, just fucking, but afterwards,
Kevin Costner's like, no. You're like, come on, help him this time.
Esme would come home and I'd be watching Man of Steel and she'd be like, you're on fucking LSD, aren't you? I'd be like, yeah. But no, it definitely, there was benefits to it. I mean, it's all, you definitely have to be careful. Definitely have to be careful with LSD. Like maybe hide your phone, like maybe make sure someone's there to make,
really
to like, people fucking take LSD and then like jump out of hotel room windows. It's really people. Powerful
with the I forget where I got the ketamine. It was somebody online like did it as a therapy way, and they would have music that you listen to. It's called binaural music. It's nothing I'd ever listened to.
Binaural beats. It's when I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was new to me. And like the way you take the ketamine is you have these dissolvable tablets. You put them in your mouth and you hold it there for 7 minutes, which is a bit of an endurance test
and then
for me.
They give you an eye mask too, right?
They gave us an eye mask, and then I would use a weighted blanket. I had a scented candle, a dark room, like eye mask, of course. And
your wife had to babysit you, right?
Well, she did. I didn't need her, but she did. She was there in case. And the company like made sure, like, all right, FaceTime. I want to see the person who's babysitting you to make sure you're actually doing it. FaceTime. I want to watch you take your own blood pressure before we do this to make sure it's all clear. And then they also which
is good. It's good that they have those procedures, I think.
Right. And they prescribed it, of course. They helped me figure out my dose. They were like, you're going to journal after this. So, get that set up, figure out how you're going to do it, etc. Because it's kind of like a dream where when you first wake up, you think that this is a core memory that is really burned in. And then shockingly, it can be gone 3 hours later. Your dream has just vanished. Mm-hmm. So you journal it and make sure that whatever revelations, I should say, you had during the trip, get the stick and you can reread them, which I do sometimes. It was really good for me. I don't know. I really genuinely have gotten thicker skin over the years, but someone was like, stupid Woody didn't even take it right. And I'm like, what?
I did everything they asked.
I had professional guidance. Like, I think I took it fine.
I thought about it. I thought about doing it because I've had periods of what you would call treatment resistant depression that would last for like 6 months to a year and a half. And I had a little bout of that in 2022. I was dealing with like intense grief that I was burying with alcohol and stuff. And I was like right on the cusp of doing a consultation and stuff. And then I got clean and then just started adopting like much healthier stuff in my life. And then I was like much better.
Good for you, man. Weight That's of great. The world and my responsibilities. And one of the things that I took away from my trips was like, all right, let's cut down what's really your problem to solve. And like, what does Jackie need? What does Colin need? Like, what does the home we live in need? What do you really actually have to do? You give these fuckers food, clothing, and heat. That's all that's the basics. That's all you need to get done. Like, and it just seemed like a much more manageable problem. Heck, one of the darn things I thought about on my trip that I saw recently is like, the roof is leaking. You've got to fix this. And when that, like, it was like, let's get this lockdown fixed. And now I got a new roof. Like, it was just like, let's figure out what the basics are, take the stress away from this. What seems like an insurmountable problem or a never ending insurmountable problem is actually something that like fucking everyone actually manages. You can do this.
Mm-hmm. Seems like you're a success story for the ketamine therapy. But also like, it seems like you went into it with much more of a utilitarian view than I can picture a lot of people going into it with.
Yeah. You would have to like lie to them if your intention was to have a good time, but that wasn't what my intention was.
Yeah. I feel like if you were trying to just do ketamine recreationally, it would be way less expensive to just, go on the dark web and buy it that way.
Oh yeah, get a little special
K. With the ketamine treatments, it's like pretty expensive. If you want to do it intravenously, it's like $2,000 per session.
Yeah.
And if you want to do it at home, even, I think it's much less expensive, but it's still like amounted when I looked into it for like $400 per trip. And you do not need to pay that much for.
I think it was half. I think it was $1,200 for 6. And then the second time it was cheaper. And I don't know how that compares to what it would cost elsewhere. What did Taylor laugh at?
I was thinking about it. Reminded me of this story from like, this is probably 7 years ago now. And one of my close friends, the Marine guy, my Marine buddy I've been friends with since we were like 4 or 5 that I've mentioned on the show many times. He was really into MMA, like mixed martial arts and fighting. And he started like doing amateur fights. And one of the fights, he was like, hey, Taylor, and like, our whole friend group, he was like, I want you guys to come and watch me fight. And even before that, I was like, bro, like, you better fucking win, because I don't want to pay tickets to go see my good friend get shit rocked at some bar in downtown St. Louis, or some venue in downtown St. Louis rather, that I don't want to go to because it's not the nicest, cleanest, safest area. And he was like, no, I've been training. And so we go, and the fight itself was incredible. He beat the absolute shit out of his opponent in a way that felt illegal. Like, and it only took 2 minutes until the other guy tapped out. It was like not even tapping out from a submission, tapping out from being punched in the head too many times.
Oh, you hate that.
And then there were like 10 other fights. And so my buddy came out, and then we had a big group of probably a dozen guys and girls hanging out, having a good time. And one of my buddies told another friend, he was like, hey, I've got ketamine. I've got liquid ketamine in this dropper here. You know, I know we're all drinking, you know, we're all starting to drink and everything. How about you want me to put some ketamine in your rum and Coke, whatever he was having?
Yes,
and
I
my
do.
buddy was like, yes, I do. And apparently it was like some bullshit dropper. Like, you're supposed to measure things out.
Mhm.
And he was like trying to put it in the guy's drink, like one of those essential oil dropper containers almost. And he's like, come on, get in there. And then like,
oh dear,
a significant amount of it came out, and he was like, "Da-da-da-da." Well, that's probably fine. And so my buddy drank this stuff, and we didn't find out till later that my buddy who bought this stuff, the ketamine, got it off like Silk Road, like on the dark web. Like, it wasn't like verified ketamine. And so my other friend who took it, drank it down, and maybe 30 minutes later, he was like on the floor of this venue, like unable to move, couldn't make sense, wasn't saying anything. And so me and another one of my friends there had to like carry him to an Uber, and he's a large fellow. And so it was an exhausting endeavor because I'm a few drinks in at this point. And so me and my buddy, we carry him in, we get him in the Uber. We have to give like explicit instructions to his Uber driver, like take him here and then, you know, text us when he gets there, because he clearly isn't going to be cognizant. And so I'm going to have to call his girlfriend at their apartment when you get back. And then she will come out and she'll collect him and get him in there. And it wasn't until like a day or two later, because all of us were like, that's what fucking ketamine does? Like, because I have no experience with it. It turns out that my friend who bought it off the dark web had accidentally or probably purposely been given GHB. Now, GHB is the date rape drug. And so he gave my friend a wild dose of GHB and got him fucked up in like 20 minutes.
I think
it makes you pass out and it makes your butthole hurt.
It makes you pass out and makes your butthole. I mean, before I carried him out to the car, I had a little, you know, but because who's going to tell?
That's just
technically that is I think technically that is a hallucinogen. People don't realize, but like
he said he couldn't recall anything. He said it was a total blackout of memory.
Took too much.
People need to respect hallucinogens. That's one type of drug that you need to respect. And there was a guy, was it Timothy Leary, the LSD guy from the 70s or whatever? I think it was he who was talking about set and setting. And so the setting that you're in is really important, and then also your state of mind. So like if you're in a shitty mood and you take it like in public, that can go.
I was going to
really,
talk about
really
hallucinogen.
poorly.
Does that mean psychedelic, or is that synonymous?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. But technically marijuana has psychedelic properties, but it's not the same thing as like mushrooms or
my marijuana doses are so small. I don't think I'm having the same experience that some of you guys have had. But the set and setting is the really big deal. That's why when I did ketamine, like as some people are like, I like to do it at the club. No. I am in a very controlled environment with my weighted blanket and my scented candle.
Yeah.
You know,
what scent?
It's vanilla, butterscotch. Like that's the family.
Bonfire.